think we're live.
Sounds like it.
Well, welcome everybody to our first ever Lowdown Live. I think it's what is it, a vlogcast, and I am. I think we'll go with vlogcast. But I'm here and joined by Glen, very special guest, Glen Ames, our CPO. Welcome, Glen.
Thank you.
Cool. That's good enough of that. So the idea of this is that stop the music. The idea of this is that every month we are going to be able to have a little chat about the previous month, some of the cool stuff that's been going on, but also a little bit of a summary of a key topic that we're going to be delving into, and every time there's going to be a special guest. And of course, today I've got you, Glen. How you doing, Glen?
I'm very well, thank you. We've had a good day. We did a great session this morning. Tom and Helen presented some of our upcoming products, which went down very well. If you weren't able to join, I know that we weren't able to do a hangout to Manchester, but we will be. Tom's looking at coming to visit next week, do that session. Join if you haven't seen it already. We'll live cast that one, and we'll also do it for New York and the French team. So we're really looking forward to doing that.
So what were you covering in this morning's session?
Well, this morning we talked about the sense planning product, which is getting close to our alpha, which is very exciting. We're going to get some testers in both New York and in the UK to test it primarily. We talked about our programmatic trading, or our algorithmic trading. We talked about our automated insights, which look fantastic and are really going to help CS to be more efficient. And then finally, we talked about our updated profiles. The US team's been asking for updates to the profiles for a long time. We've got those in. We've made some changes. They're much improved, and we're going to continue to make improvements to those. So really exciting stuff. Lots of big hitters today.
Brilliant. And how are you getting on the third floor? How's life upstairs?
Well, yes, for those that don't know, we now have taken over the third floor. We have 3 floors in this building, the whole building, in fact. And third floor is the quiet floor. It's the floor where we can think. So I think the engineers are very thankful. They've lived on a floor with radio blaring for 2 years, and now they're getting a lot of good work done. So we should accelerate.
Although, yeah, exactly. But although I would say that you can hear everything that's going on in the meeting rooms, like the doors aren't there. So if you have any, any sneaky little interesting pieces of gossip,
I hear all the gossip. I have lots of secrets that I've party to before.
Okay, interesting.
I won't be sharing them.
Okay, that's good.
But just know all the other engineers know them too.
Okay, all right. Well, look, here we go. So the idea, like I said, the idea is that we're going to have a little chat about the previous month and then a key topic. But so let's kick off with October. And hang on a minute. Hey, can you hear that?
I do hear. I hear the sound of success.
Ah, the sound of success. I love that sound. This is beautiful. Okay, well, I suppose there is some big news for us right now that I'm going to reveal, which is that for the first time since December 2016, we as a group have just had a record month in October. Woo! So that, if everybody would like to know, that is £4.2 million. Woo! Or if you are European, that is 4.9 million euros.
Sounds even better.
It does. It gets better and better. If you are American, it's $5.5 million. And it's 154 million hryvnias.
I like that one.
So there we go. So yeah, so we'll talk about October. I think fantastic. We've hit a record month. I think December 2016 month where absolutely everything that we even approached came in and more. So it's been a very tough number to beat. But very pleased that we had £4.2 million. So huge well done to everyone. Everyone could be very proud. And it's been a lot of hard work this year, but it's been coming. We knew it was coming as we built up throughout the year. And you know what's even more exciting is that we're already on 4.6, I think, now for November.
Another record month.
We're on for a record month again. So we might hear the sound of success again next month. Let's hope so.
Oh, even sweeter.
Yeah, exactly. But lots of great news to go into. I'm not going to go into too much, but a quick summary is that the UK, so looking at the results from around the group, the UK had its highest month since December 2016. It was a record month for Publicis, some brilliant work from Chris, Val, and Sophie there. A record month for independents. We also had our highest month of the year for Group M, over £1 million. Some brilliant work again from Ed and Izzy and Lewis and all the traders involved across all those groups. And I think we're extremely pleased to see such progress going on with those groups. And there's still an awful lot more to come. We did a huge transatlantic deal with Bose, which is one that I particularly like. I think it's great to see the two territories syncing up and collaborating together between Fred and Neil. Over 500K for Bose, really good brand. So absolutely delighted with that. And then one more sort of commercial topic for the UK is the launch of our creative studio with Bobby and Becca. And they've been working closely with the sales teams to build out the mocks. And the idea is that we're going to be able to bring a lot of the creative in-house that we're currently using third parties to build. So we're now doing parascrolls, light boxes, skins, video canvas. And Becca and Bobby have been working with Sultra and the TAMs to make sure that we can get brand safety in place and tracking, etc. So that we can handle this in-house. And so our first in-house creative is going to go live next month, which we're really excited about. And that's going to set us on our path to be 50% of all creative builds built in-house by the end of Q4. So welcome to those two, and we're looking forward to building that department out. So the USA, let's have a look at these guys. So anyway, that was, yeah. Okay, so the US, the US have just achieved their second record month in a row. So a huge round of applause to the US team. Congrats to Neil on smashing the sales record for the group in Capify history, beating Kristen last month. And this month he's just done a 510K pounds, which is $665,000. So a massive well done to Neil. And that is definitely hard work. Those two, who are longest running sellers in New York, have been really working super hard for the last couple of years, and it just shows how much that's paying off. And a little special mention actually to Bridget as well, because Bridget has just in October achieved $185,000 worth of upweights. Wow, which amazing. Is pretty sensational stuff. So the CS team in New York have really been doing a great job. Really well organized, and that's just phenomenal results. So massive well done, Bridget. And it was great to see so many new advertisers coming in the US: Bose, Patron Tequila, Peloton, Audi, New York Lottery, as well as opening up 4 new agencies. So a massive well done to the New York team. And of course, we've just opened up in Boston and Chicago as well. So we welcomed in October Ben Lovett to the we're getting people's messages as they come in. Opening up the Boston office now. So welcome to Ben. And it was great to see Jason come from Chicago over to Adweek New York as well. And Adweek New York and Programmatic IO were the big marketing events in October. Both of them were absolutely amazing. And I think we really lifted the profile of the company globally during those events. And I've just been doing a lot of president hires over the last couple of weeks for this president role in the US, and all the ones I've been speaking to have said that they noticed us, particularly at Adweek. I'm not surprised. I was lucky enough to go there. We had an amazing spot. You walked in, it was Captify, and then Google, Facebook, Microsoft. I mean, we really stood out. Massive. It was a massive event for us. Yeah, so a huge well done to obviously to Nicole and Tina and Laura for putting all that hard work in to make that happen. So very pleased with that, and that's the start of things to come. I think 2019 will certainly be a big marketing year in the US. Our French team absolutely smashing it still. So over twice the revenue of this time last year, loads of new business, and also Spain. Spain cracked first time, so a huge well done to Ruth and Sandra. Some really cool brands there with Mini, BMW, ING, and Fisher. And France and Spain together delivered over €1 million in October. So we're super excited to see the continental Europe now really start to motor on. Vincent Polillo and his teams have been doing an amazing job. We're now very excited for Vincent to be overseeing the expansion into Italy as well, which is Going to be Milan, probably from January, but we've got the early hires in place. So from Jan, we could be, we could be in Milan, and work from anywhere gets more and more fun.
Yeah.
Cool. The next department to have a little chat about is analytics, and they've been doing a lot. Analytics and trading have been very, very busy. It's Q4, so that's expected.
Always busy.
There's a lot of reactionary stuff, but there's also a lot of big projects that we've got going on. And the analytics team working closely with the publishers on a device so that we can improve our offering. Have your team's been working with them as well?
Yeah, absolutely. We've been doing a lot of testing around user scoring in particular, and our other algorithms. The testing results going from strength to strength. We saw a really good month last month where we basically split in our campaigns into two, and we say this half we're going to use our algorithms, and this half we're going to trade it as normal. And we get to a point where our algorithms trading 43% are reaching where we expect an average trader to be. That means if we take all of the different strategies and we take the average point, that gives us a good baseline. That leaves so much scope and so much time for the traders to be able to focus on those higher performance strategies. So really excited about the progress we're making on our testing. So that's really great stuff.
And in the trading team, of course, the big news in trading is that Lucille has.
That sounds familiar.
Lucille has had a baby boy, the lovely Noah. So congratulations, Lucille. More of this to come. I can't listen to it. It upsets me listening to that. I can't hear babies crying. So massive congratulations to Lucille, and of course, with Corinne's coming up as well. It's all very exciting.
You have one Kiev as well.
Well, no, that's coming up. And one more thing to mention, I think, with the trading side, I think it's worth everyone just noting that we have doubled our video revenue as a group in the last month, so in October. So video is clearly on the rise, and we're excited to see that because that's clearly the biggest growth format in the industry right now. But some amazing successes from our traders as well with Tesco's, Marriott, and Mercure Hotels. I think the Mercure Hotel one was quite amazing. I think we achieved them 143 to 1 ROI on the campaign. So
wow.
Pretty amazing results.
Yeah.
So we're very pleased with how trading is functioning. Publisher team. So publisher team has had a big presence at Adweek and to ask publishers what they think should be going on.
Yeah, it's so important to get their feedback.
Yeah, exactly, because it's one thing us thinking that we know what they want, but realistically, we need to get their real life feedback, and it's great to have a trusted.
But, I mean, we've had a lot of success with the advertiser cab. We wouldn't have the product we're making with Sense without that team and giving us the feedback, just validating what we're doing. So it's really important to have those customer touch points or partner touch points.
And it's a really amazing lineup they've got on that board as well. So hopefully Aruna can build another one in the US as well. And talking of Aruna, by the way, of course, we welcome Aruna to oversee our publisher partnerships across the globe, and she's based in New York. So welcome, Aruna, and we're looking forward to supporting you and developing this publisher partnerships in the US, but also globally, working closely with Ben, of course. And then lastly, marketing. So we've had some amazing events. I think the marketing is just getting stronger and stronger at Captify. I think that's not because Laura's sitting over there staring at me.
Eyeballing.
Probably is. But it genuinely is getting better and better. The quality of work that we're doing. We used to be kind of known for great parties and great entertainment, and that got us so far. And I think now we're starting to release really fantastic content.
Yeah, very very professional looking stuff. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Market leading.
Yeah, I mean, and have you seen the P&G white paper that we've been doing?
Yeah, it's phenomenal.
That is sensational.
Pretty much signed off. So
great. So we're there. Cool. So that's the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And of course, we've got Mindshare Huddle as well coming up. So there's an awful lot going on. So yeah, fantastic job to marketing as well. So in summary,
we've got engineering as well.
Yep. Sorry, we have. Here we go. Of course we have. Yeah.
We have. Should we talk about engineering?
Yes, please.
We've got a couple of new starters in engineering. Last month we have Dieter in the machine learning team in London. So welcome to him. Our machine learning team is expanding. It's a core area of focus for us. And then in Kiev, we have Roman, who's joining our ads team, full stack developer. So if you think about some of the things we're focusing on, building out Sense, building out our applications, we need some help there as well. And then, of course, we have Vlad Bossy.
Oh, hang on, hang on, hang on.
Who has also had a baby girl. So Vlad, this one's going to keep.
But Vlad's already had a baby. Oh no, it's his
No,
first.
it's his first.
Oh, okay. Well, welcome to the club, Vlad. You can say goodbye to. You can say goodbye to your nice peaceful nights. We haven't had one of those in quite a while now. You can say goodbye to your nice peaceful nights. We haven't had one of those in quite a while now, have we?
Many years.
So
Many years.
You know, I still can't listen to that baby crying. But congrats, Vlad. So yeah, I think that's about it. I think so. In summary, a great month, a record month. Congratulations, everyone. We'll be celebrating, by the way, straight after this vlogcast with some champagne in every country around the world to celebrate our record month. Because, of course, you know, how can we not celebrate hitting our highest ever achievement as a group? So, and also November's off to a great start. So let's keep focused on that as well. So busiest time of the year, we need to all keep aligned.
And I'll be in Kiev next week. I'll take the guys out for a few drinks to celebrate. Also, well-deserved time for us to celebrate some of that success. Okay,
and I'm going to be in New York next week to. Well, I'm doing a couple of days with the team, and I'm also going to be going to WPP Stream, which is on the West Coast. I've been invited by the CEO of Group M North America. So going to be amongst a long list of pretty insane names on that list.
Great.
So I'm looking forward to meeting some great people and networking, of course, spreading the love of Captify, make sure that everyone in the US understands what we do, and we'll be making sure that we make a big impact. Okay, cool. So let's move on to the topic of the day, which is data-enriched media. Excuse me, I'm just going to plug my laptop in. And of course, data-enriched media, we talk about this a lot, and we realize that quite a few people might not understand what it is and why we're doing it and why we're talking about it.
Yep.
And we kind of made that title up as well.
Yes, I mean, I think data-enriched media explains at least sort of one implementation of our goal, but it doesn't necessarily encompass the goal itself. So maybe we should start with what the goal is and why we're doing it, right?
Yeah, you know, and I suppose, yeah. But the question is, why are we even doing? You know, why are we doing data and media, and what do we mean by it, and why are we doing it ultimately? I think the thing to probably start with is ultimately the industry has changed. You know, the way that people are transacting and clients and agencies are transacting to buy media has shifted, and I think that's ultimately it's basically a result of a few different things. It's agencies are constantly trying to work out how to make margin, number one. So how can they provide an additional service to provide an uplift in margin so they can claim better margin? But also the fact that technology players have made it's become easy to transact media through a programmatic platform or DSP. Right. And as such, those DSPs can now start going straight to the brand. And that's a major threat to agencies, isn't it?
Well, it is, but it was also a major change in the way that they want to do business. They have their DSPs in place. They have signed huge media deals to get programmatic deals where they can get their media cheap. They have negotiated extremely competitive rates with minimal spends, and the advertiser wants to take advantage of that, which means that sending things out to managed service doesn't allow them to take advantage of that, and they're wanting to be able to leverage. So the agencies themselves are feeling this pressure of using certain platforms, passing it on to down the chain as well, but they're also wanting to do similar things in their own organizations where they've got these great deals going on. So yeah,
so it's margins. They want to get more margin, so they put their money through their trading desk where they can control everything. They can charge a higher fee to their clients, which gives them better margin, because they are the hands-on keyboards, or they are the ones that are controlling the technology. So that's really the evolution of agencies. They've now become technology controllers rather than just manual buyers of media. And then, of course, it also makes sense for an agency to put stuff through their chain desk so they consolidate everything in one go, where they can
look at price efficiencies.
Price efficiencies, like global frequency capping across campaigns.
Yeah, transparency
of where stuff's being bought. Yeah. But also on a a cost basis, right? They can consolidate the cost into one fee, which is something they really like doing, because then they can.
Yeah, the financial side of the organization doesn't want many touch points, right? They want to try and consolidate that to a simpler way of doing business with third parties, right?
Yeah, and often I would imagine, and this won't be the same for everyone because transparency is obviously a big thing now with agencies, but often I would imagine that consolidating costs into one platform can also be quite good at masking a lot of costs, or masking a lot of
I mean,
hidden margins.
But that could be a potential.
That's not something we would bring up with the agents. But let's, we've had to really think about that, because as we've built our programmatic solutions, we've got to look at why does an agency want to consolidate the costs through one bill, through one trading platform bill. We'll come on to that in a little bit. So should we have a little chat about how do trading desks actually buy, how does an agency trading desk actually buy media? So do they do it in the same way that we do it? Do they have a bunch of traders just running a DSP? What do they have in their sort of control?
I mean, they're using a variety of strategies, aren't they? They're using some managed by which have a particular advantage, such as ourselves. They're using traders themselves, and they're just. I mean, they're a lot of the traders we talk to when we talk about, hey, are you looking to trade this yourself? Is that why you want control of the data? Is that why you want our product to be there? The traders themselves, they don't want to be trading it. They'd be happy to pass it on to somebody like us, but they need to be able to illustrate up the chain. They could transfer that they themselves. They could do what they want. They can put restrictions in place. In reality, would they actually want to be doing that work? Maybe not. But we need to give them the option, and we need to show that we're willing to be open in that way.
Okay, so we know that they're using a range of DSPs, and they're using, I think the Trade Desk is probably the most widely adopted DSP for agencies.
That's right, yes.
AppNexus has been known as a DSP that has a lot more granular controls and an open sort of API system, which is why we've used it.
So why we've used it, it's not been as popular with the agencies, right? And there's reasons behind that. The Group M ownership of it, but that seems changing, doesn't it? I mean, it seems like there is a bit of a mind shift.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that we'll probably see that shift more and more. I mean, WPP used to have a major stake in AppNexus, and that's been sold to which hacked other agency groups.
Exactly.
So, and now that it's been sold to AT&T, that now opens it up against agency groups. However, they've still got AppNexus. I understand it is actually a little harder platform for a trader to use to the trade desk. Yeah,
they're trying to address that. They're introducing new ways of trading. They're introducing ALI and splits and things like this to make it so that it's less complicated. But they have been.
It seems like the trade desk jumped on an opportunity there, which was to make it easy for traders, because there was traders with short sight. There wasn't that many of them at agencies. They wanted to quickly trade, and the trade desk made that a pretty easy process, one single line item, etc. So they managed to get some good market share down. I think they really focused on their customer service, and AppNexus has always slightly struggled, I think, with that, because they've always struggled to find information. What do you call it? ICs, implementation consultants, who actually really understood the platform.
Yeah.
So there wasn't really enough people that they could employ to really give great customer service.
I mean, they've been. I think AppNexus suffered the same fate that maybe Turn did, which was they were a technology company. Right, whereas the Trade Desk was a services company. Not that they were providing services; they were providing a strong platform, but they knew how to take it to market.
Okay, yeah, that's right. And then we saw over the last few years, Turn also had a pretty decent exposure with agencies, and that kind of fizzled out. Your old company, now known as Amobi.
Yeah.
But Amobi, it feels like I'm making a bit of a comeback and providing some different types of services.
Yeah, I mean, Amobi's taken them over, and they really sort of invigorate their sales drive. Turn originally was very strong in the US, not very good in Europe. But they took a few missteps. They consolidated around one or two areas which didn't pan out, and I think they didn't really have a strong go-to-market. But now Amobi's behind them. I think they're showing some interest again, and they have one or two unique offerings that some of the other platforms doesn't, and they could be interesting. They're very strong at doing cross-device into social networks and things like that.
But they also did pretty well with having a planning solution, kind of like Sense Planning.
Yeah, that's right.
And because we found, and when I was in New York, we were working with University of Cannes, and they were quite heavily using Amobi. I think they still do. Amobi to find hooks for their strategy, for winning clients, etc. And then Catsify is coming with its own data and it's giving them a different type of story.
That's right.
Because Amobi was a social media monitoring platform, I think. Was it?
Yeah, well, I mean, and they were very big in the mobile space, and they were building that stuff out as well. But they were very strong in planning, and they brought that in, and now they've got a very strong execution platform. They've got a very nice suite, end-to-end piece.
That's actually quite that's quite insightful of them to actually link the two there, because all the other DSPs don't do that at all. And that is the exact breakdown that happens going from planning through to activation. And that's a big problem. You've got planning teams at agencies who are planning everything. You've got strategy teams who are carving out ways to engage with an audience. And then it's probably going through to a training team that are then just, going to do something totally different.
They're disconnected from the planning stage. So you plan with a certain audience or a certain set of audiences, and you throw it over and say, hey, it looks like, it should be this demographic. Then you're using different data, which has a different skew. So that end-to-end process is quite appealing.
And that's something that we're massively trying to bridge that gap.
To mimic,
we're trying to build a planning solution so you can query data and create audiences and then send that through to activation.
But what we mentioned earlier today was, nobody else is allowing you to build those bespoke audiences, those unique ones, right? Everybody else is saying, right, here's all the data vendors that exist in the world. Grab their data and see if you can, fudge it into something. And we're saying, well, no, start with what you're looking for and then build from there.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so the agency trading desk, that's the DSP side covered. So they've got a range of platforms. And what I understand is that from speaking to agencies, they're trying to reduce the number of platforms because traders don't want to have too many platforms to trade on. They're trying to now consolidate to one. They're trying to consolidate the costs and the billing into one. So the solution for us to go and work with those teams by selling them another DSP seems like a very tough sell for agencies. And
yeah, it is tough, and it's tough even for their employees as well. Imagine that you're a trader and you go to a company and they say, yeah, we're using this little platform that you're not sure about, you don't know. You don't. That's not enticing on your CV, and you want to be using one of the key platforms, and they want their teams to consolidate around the key platforms, and they don't want to teach them new platforms, and they don't want to have to frequency cap against different platforms. So consolidation is inevitable, I think.
So we've had to consider, how do we integrate with these platforms? So we've had to come out with, we've been brainstorming this for years. Glenn and I have been sitting here trying to work out, how do we create a hybrid solution, something that's going to enable the trader to still media through its own platform, whilst at the same time not compromising our product. Because our product isn't just search data. Our product is what we do with search data, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah, and we've always resisted the idea of just throwing over these dumb segments. There's many reasons, right? Our segments are very highly dynamic, based on performance and a goal. They work best when we can use them in a more discrete manner by user scoring in our technologies. And then we need to know how to use them as well, right? We can't just say, hey, trader, you've not had the training. We don't want to go into every trading desk and give them weeks and weeks of training. So there's a lot to the way that we use our data to get the best out of it, that we don't want to just sort of throw on dumb data.
Exactly. It's search intelligence. It's the powering of media and insights with search intelligence.
That's right.
So be optimizing, because we're controlling it, to power media by the media. So the media, the results of the media is powering what we do with the data.
Right,
and end-to-end loop.
Adjusting to change, right?
Exactly.
So if something on the configuration changes, we want the actual data to change as well.
Exactly. So as such, we're not just sending them segments. We want to come out with a hybrid solution that's going to not pull our product apart, still give us the results that we can get from controlling that end-to-end process. So we want to kind of do this data-enriched media. Because of course, basically, trading desks are mostly buying media through the platform. They do use some data, and they use contextual targeting and other data to refine their targeting. But most of their strategies are probably media strategies, where they're buying on a PMP or they're buying across the open network, etc. And so we want to kind of make it as easy as that for them, that they could just buy media, but it's powered by our data.
That's right.
And we've been trying to tackle that solution for quite a while, and it's been very, very hard, hasn't it?
Well, I mean, the problem with this is we're very dependent on the ecosystem as a whole, right? The ecosystem's set up with strong supply sources, demand buyers, and injecting yourself into that ecosystem has been very, very difficult, because the hooks just didn't exist. So we've been having to, campaign for change amongst supply sources and demand platforms, and try and push this agenda ourselves. It's been a long process to try and convince these businesses that there's value here for them.
Yeah. Okay. So we came out with the first. Well, we've always wanted to do it via. Our ideal solution from day one was always to create a private marketplace, basically, because that's how traders used to buy. They used to buying, the idea is that they could have a Captify private marketplace with, super optimizing, intent segment for car buyers or whatever custom segment they want.
Yeah.
By the way, the custom side of it, where they can create their own audiences with us, I think will be a massive differentiator from everyone else.
Yeah, and that's all part of Sense, right?
Yeah, exactly. Where you're not just going off a taxonomy of pre-categorized segments. So
Yep.
with Sense, they can create their own segments and label them whatever they want, and then that'll dynamically go into the platforms. So so the idea that we wanted to do it, we're based off a PMP, off a media buy, but then we couldn't because the SSPs were not letting us do this. So the SSPs are all the media sources that are plugged into the DSP. When they're buying media, when you're doing a private marketplace deal, it will always be through an SSP. And we've struggled to find SSPs that can enable us to enrich the media because it just wasn't part of their model. And
well, I mean, they have historical reasons to be wary of it, right?
Yeah.
With the arbitrage and people trying to just resell media at an inflated price with no value added.
Mhm.
So what we needed to do is we need to show them that this isn't just a simple arbitrage. We're actually injecting value into the chain.
Yeah.
We're saying, look, your publishers are going to get extra data layered onto their media, which allows them to get a higher price for that media. So there's value to your publishers,
Yeah.
there's value to the buyers, and that that process was sort of new to them.
Yep. So we struggled with that. It was seen as arbitrage, even though we were trying to educate them. It's not really arbitrage. We were enriching it. So this would actually create a higher yield for the publishers because we could sell it at a higher price.
Mm-hmm.
So people will pay more for this media because it's enriched by the data because it's now going to perform better.
That's right.
So that was what we've got. And now they start to see us. Now they start to see what we're saying and start to help us roll it out. We'll come on to that in a minute. The first solution that we came across that we could work with was with DBM,
Yep.
which is our guaranteed tag solution, where a client, using their DBM seat, their DBM DSP, they can create a guaranteed tag, which is a tag that would normally go just on a guaranteed bar on a publisher.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they give it to us. We then run it in our platforms with our engine, with our intelligence engine, and deliver against that tag. And
Exactly. And instead of delivering a creative tag to pick up the creative, we deliver that tag, which basically pushes it into DBM for them to buy.
Yeah.
But the limitation with this is we've already bought the media. We have to buy it in advance of them actually transacting in their system. So the only way we can afford to do that without losing loads and loads of money is to make it a guaranteed buy. We have to say, look, we're buying it. You're going to have to commit to buying everything we send to you.
So if we are buying that media and they turn it off their end, we continue to buy it.
Yeah,
that's our loss, right?
That's going to be a loss for us.
Yeah. So this system, we've been selling all the DEM solutions, all the DEM money that we've had in this year, which is quite a bit now. It's building up nicely. Has been on this solution.
That's right.
But clearly,
it's simple, right? Because they just give us a tag and we just say, look, here's a guaranteed buy. We'll send it over to you.
But so it can work well.
It can, but there's another problem with it as well, which is it doesn't solve the billing issue that agencies have talked to them about, because we still need to bill them, right? They pay their DBM fee on their guaranteed tag, but then they still need to pay us for the media we bought. So they've still got this financial split going on. So it doesn't solve the billing issue. It does solve the delivery into their platform, so they can do frequency capping and such like. And it does allow them to report on it, and it does allow them to feel like they've got some control, because they can put their brand safety on it if they want to unblock it. And there's going to be some discrepancy, but it's limited. Okay,
so we are giving agencies a hybrid solution, or a program with Google. So it does work. We can sell that now. So very pleased that we've got that out there at the minute, and we are still getting some really good numbers. I think we're probably about 300K or something.
And that's the target.
Yeah, I think we're on track to smash that. So so we're getting some decent numbers. The lack of billing, so they kind of got to bill us separately to the DBM, so they've got to have a separate billing with us. That's a problem, right? So that's a real blocker with a lot of agencies.
Well, yes, with a lot of them. Certainly in the UK, we see that a lot. But some agencies are okay with it. A lot aren't.
Yeah, so that's led us to now like doing everything we can to find a second solution.
Yes.
So that we can unlock that.
So how do we get solutions that allow them not to have to be billed by us directly to incorporate it? And of course, the simplest idea is just to say, hey, how about you let us just control one of your campaigns in your DSP seat?
Yeah.
Right. So no real changes here, apart from the only difference is our traders are logging into your DSP and running it in your DSP on your behalf. So that's the next solution that we should talk about, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So the first one was the DBM guarantee tag. The second one is AppNexus permissions.
Right, and we say AppNexus because AppNexus actually has a product for this for us today. They allow us to permission an advertiser to, or they allow an agency, should I say, to permission an advertiser for us to trade on their behalf, upload our segments to it, do the trading. We can even do our APB modeling to do user scoring and such like. So essentially and the nice thing about this is that they get charged through AppNexus. We get paid by simply charging a fee on the data, which doesn't mean that we're selling data. That fee on the data can be whatever we want it to be. It can be $20 CPM for a week. But we agree that, and we say, look, we're going to manage the campaign. We got our technology. We've got the data. Here's the fee for that, and we'll run that campaign on your behalf in your seat. You get all the log data. You get all of the frequency capping. You get billing through your seat. We can even buy your media deals for you, which is great, right? Yeah,
that's fantastic. So what I understand is that, so we've got some agencies that like the DBM solution. We've got a couple of agencies that really like this AppNexus solution, this permission design, which is, I think, Havas are ready to.
They're very keen to do a test, yes.
Yeah, so I think we've got that lined up and I think it's pretty large.
Yes, end of this month, we're hoping to get that going.
Exactly. So that's the second DEM solution or programmatic solution that we've got at Capify, and that's now about to go live. It's it is permissions where essentially they will release their seat open to us to essentially drive performance and run that campaign from our own technology in their seat, in their platform, which means the billing stays in their platform. They've got transparency on the media. This is a really great solution.
It's a great solution with one caveat.
You've got to use AppNexus.
You've got to use AppNexus, right? Exactly. Now, we have talked to the other DSPs, major DSPs out there. We said earlier, Dom said earlier, that the Trade Desk is the most popular DSP. They don't support this, right? They do support some level of permissioning at the advertiser level, but they don't allow us to do user scoring or any of our technology within their platform on that solution. So we're a little limited in how we can roll it out with them. Amobi, we're interested in looking at them, but they don't have great traction with the agencies yet either. And DBM we won't be able to do it with because they don't allow any of this permissioning. So AppNexus is the limitation here, and hopefully we can get some traction with those agencies that have an AppNexus seat.
Okay, so then the third solution, this is the one we've been waiting for a while. This is one that we actually wanted first, which is this buying through a data-enriched private marketplace through an SSP.
Yes. And this is really more in line with the title data-enriched media. The AppNexus one, we're not enriching media, we're running a campaign on behalf. So this is the original vision, using private marketplace deal IDs to basically say to the agency, here is information on what you should be buying.
Okay, and when's this going to be ready?
So we've talked to all of the SSPs that you might have heard of. We've talked to OpenX and Index and Rubicon and PubMatic and all right. Most of them are not ready with a solution. The first ones that came back with something promising was OpenX, who have a solution for this, but we still need to build separately, which defeats part of the purpose. However, PubMatic have come back and said, hey, actually, we've just finished. You can upload your data to PubMatic. You can
we will.
Yeah, we will upload the data to PubMatic, and we can say, these deal IDs mean these segments on this media. So we can choose which media to run it on.
Right.
We can run it on our audiences, and we can put in a floor price. And what's interesting, we can do different floor prices for different segments.
Right.
So we can say, hey, this is a high intent audience. This is a lower intent
audience. So we can change
audience.
our own margin on that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we can put on our additional price to the base price. Now, it's really interesting because what they do is they serve that media. One of the issues that we had, for example, with Index was they could support this solution, but they needed us to have the relationships with every single publisher.
Yeah. So that's a big job.
Well, and it means we got to go around talking to every publisher and getting our name in their ads.text.
So what
and
PubMatic. Now they're allowing us to.
Yeah, they're going to allow us to just go over anybody in their network,
right?
Because they see it as this value add, and what they'll do is they'll remove our price. So let's say we put on a $1 CPM. They'll remove that off the bid that comes back, and if we tell our agency to bid $2, they'll remove that dollar off, and then they'll put that whatever's remaining into the auction.
Okay.
So there's no downside to the publisher because they're still actively involved in an auction. But what we're doing is we're putting a bid into the auction that's got a deal ID that our agency's bought on their. We've told them to buy it in this way. That $1 we get paid by the sell side platform. The SSP pays us. Yeah. The SSP gets paid by the agency through the DSP, and the publisher gets paid by the SSP also. So everybody wins in a large extent there because it's a normal auction where we're layering information to get a bigger bid. Yeah, and it's a perfect solution for what we're trying to do.
And the great thing about this as well is that these SSPs that we're going to be partnering with are integrated in every DSP. So this means that we are ultimately going to be able to have a programmatic solution that we're controlling and driving performance of and driving insights on
for any DSP.
For any DSP.
That's right.
And then we can work with any trading desk.
Yeah, there's no restriction.
Really are going to
the only restriction here, really, as far as I see it, is the fact that we are working with an SSP that has a viewpoint on the publisher network, right? So as we build out, the first one will be PubMatic, which we hope to have up and running by the end of the year. OpenX have a solution, and they're working on the billing component of that, so that they can bill on our behalf. Because at the moment we'd have to get the billing from the agency. They're working on that and have promised that in Q1. So there's 2 SSPs. We'll continue to work with Index to try and get them on board. There'll be third one, and we work with the other ones as well. So as we can try and persuade more and more SSPs to adopt this solution, what we're effectively doing is we're taking the targeting decision, the optimization component outside the demand side and putting it into the sell side.
Right. Yeah.
And we're saying, look, we're going to optimize this campaign on your behalf, agency, in the sell side. You're just going to have to buy it in your platform without worrying too much about the
individual client. So I always think now, how does this now come back to a sales team, and how do we work out what solutions we should be selling here? And I think it's really important to firstly make sure that we're speaking to the right people, and make sure that that programmatic buying through these solutions is definitely how they want to transact. So it's really important that we understand why they want to do it, what is the thing, how are they making money, how do they, what is going to make it easy for them to transact with Captify. Because don't forget, a lot of, all the agencies in the UK, in fact, all of this 150 million hryvnias of revenue that we've got is still coming from managed service. So people, if they can't buy you programmatically, they'll still buy on a managed service.
That's right.
However, there's quite a few clients out there that just won't do managed service, especially in the US.
Yeah, I mean, we expect this to be incremental initially, right? This is not a transition of our business over to a different model. This is incremental, opening up new ways to sell.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's about listening to the clients, finding out what their needs are, and then you have to listen to what programmatic solution they want. So we can talk about what we've got. What we've currently got now is DBM. What we're about to have next week is the AppNexus permissions, and in the new year we'll have the SSP deal ID buying, which everyone will be able to take. And the other thing to ask is, so you got what's the best way to integrate? The second piece to ask about and because some clients will want to split apart data costs and media, and you'll definitely have that. So, for instance, Group M, if we're buying on their GMSM, did I talk about that earlier? one last piece about the individual ways that agencies buy media. Group M have got something quite unique, which is their own media marketplace, where they've basically gone and bought media everywhere at a very low price because they have a big buying power. And they've created their own SSP almost of their own media, and they're transacting on it. So they don't like anyone else buying media because they've already bought this media at a cheaper price. So they're now able to now release this to us to buy through this AppNexus permissions.
That's right.
So we can now buy Group M supply marketplace media, which is a really big upside for Group M. But of course, that means it's going to be completely transparent because this is their media.
100%, yes, 100% transparent on exactly what they're buying.
Exactly. So, and then you might have other agencies who are even using this SSP solution that we've got. You know, they might also want transparent media, and they probably will because they're going to be able to look at the logs and see where this media was bought. So our margin and our pricing is going to be coming from the pricing of our data that we set, and the pricing of the uplift or the pricing of the work that we're doing on that data and the insights, etc. So that will be setting off. Those will be our fees. That'll be the money that we're making from the campaign.
Yes.
And then the rest will go to the publisher.
And which is why it's so vital, and it has been so vital for the past 18 months, 2 years, that we get these user scoring algorithms working so efficiently that we can get a baseline of lift that the traders can then lift on top of, so that we can prove that value, right? We've got to get incremental value from them buying themselves that justifies that price. Yeah,
exactly. Okay, so what we've found so far is that Omnicom and Publicis are very, very interested in the SSP solution. So that's coming out for us in the new year. This is really, really going to be amazing to have a programmatic solution that can open up Omnicom and Publicis.
That's right.
Two monstrous groups that we've been getting very little love from, although recently with our Outcomes product, we've been smashing Publicis in the UK. But Omnicom and Publicis are real growth areas for the business, and this is really going to unlock.
And Omnicom have said, you know, they've said to me directly that, that if we have a deal ID solution, then they'd be very interested.
Okay, very cool. And then of course Havas with the AppNexus solution, and then there's still people with independents, especially still using the DBM solution. So now the answer is, do you have a programmatic solution? The answer is 100% yes, we do.
For anybody.
For anybody, absolutely anybody. And this is going to be something that continues growing and growing, and will be now part of Captify's buying and transaction methods forever. There's no way this is turning around and back. They will always...
and we give them the self-service Sense platform, allows them to plan and activate it, and we'll deliver it to them in whichever method they want to transact.
Okay. Exactly. So just to wrap up, we're going to have a little chat now about just our predictions for the programmatic space and the way that agencies and brands. We didn't really touch on Brands Direct, but Brands Direct also in housing a lot, and they've got their own DSP as well. So this gives us another load of solutions.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, we see this with agencies, right, where they're demanding that their platforms used. So I imagine that that while they're open for trading, they want it run through their platform.
Exactly. So some other predictions, Glenn? The evolution of this?
Well, I mean, we talked about the idea of SSPs gaining more power. SSPs have they've struggled a little bit because they're working with all these different publishers. They're trying to differentiate themselves to publishers. A lot of the power is on the demand side. A lot of the actual technology gets built on the demand side. I see this as an opportunity for SSPs to gain some control back, right? Because they can start enticing companies like us to work with them, to do some of the targeting, to get some of the control. And if the demand sides get commoditized into agencies and advertisers, then the selection, the options and the flexibility has to be pushed somewhere else.
Okay.
Supply side potentially, right? So there's an interesting option. I think that could be.
Do you think we'll see? Because obviously we've got TV inventory that's going to be flooding into programmatic over the next couple of years, so we don't need to touch on that. I think we'll probably have a separate session on CTV. That's very exciting for us to be able to bring our intent data into new media formats like CTV, and then of course stitch it together on an insights basis to follow the customer journey. So that's something that we're going to probably have a whole session on. What do you think about new media formats like AR and different rich media formats? Are they kind of flooding now into programmatic?
Well, I mean, we're seeing that Twitter is becoming more programmatic, right? We're seeing that. So social, while Facebook's been a closed door, I think some of the other social networks are realizing it might be beneficial for them to become more programmatic. And that's the general evolution. If you look at display originally was point sell, right? And it became programmatic, and everybody benefited from it. And I think that you'll start seeing that with other formats as they start out, because they don't have critical mass, one-to-one deals, one-to-one sales forces. TV's been the big holdout here, hasn't it? But as time evolves and as they become more popular, then programmatic is a great way for them to optimize the amount of money they can make through an auction model. So I do see that happening. Right. These things need to evolve, and there's lots of companies starting to get on board with it.
Okay. Well, I think to summarize, I think thank you very much for running through all the solutions, and also a massive well done to you and your team for all of the achievements you've done this year with getting this together. It's been a long time coming, and a lot of hard work has gone in. We've really had to hound down people in the industry to get away. What is so awesome about this is that we're definitely going to be, if not the first, one of the first companies in the world of our kind that's offering solutions like this.
Yeah, and we know this because we've had to push it so hard.
We've had to push it so hard. And, Quantcast and Media IQs, they haven't had these products, and they've shown that they're still doing hundreds of millions in IOs.
Yeah.
And we still believe that's going to happen. They're still managed service, but this is really a big step forward. I expect those guys will also follow suit at some point next year, but that doesn't matter because we've got unique data. We've got unique insights. We serve a different purpose. But we're definitely ahead of the curve on this. And when we look at these topics that we're going to be doing on the Lowdown Live every month, ideally we're going to make them about big strategic moves as much as possible. Strategic moves that we're making as a company and why, and talk through that. And I think today was a good chance to talk through this move, because this is a really big move for the business that we are now opening our floodgates into different ways of attacking revenue. So awesome job getting this done this year. Okay, so I think we're going to just wrap it up. Just going back to October, there's a couple of things I still forgot, and just a little shout out to the people team who've been absolutely working so hard to help everyone in the business, and we've got an awful lot of needs from personnel all over the company, and I think they've done some really great things this last month. With Mental Health Awareness Day. They ran a careers fair at Bournemouth University, finding our interns and new starters for next year. And I think what's really interesting is that they love to tell me this all the time, but they reckon they've saved $315,000 in recruiter fees by doing things in-house and hiring people directly. So that's a nice saving. That is also the saving, a sound of success. Where's my sound? Hang on. But I think we'll part by having a little celebration.
Oh! That was an explosion.
Laura, what are you doing to us? I thought you also would have shot us. So we're going to have a little celebration now across the group. It's been a record month in October. We're on for another record in November. What's really exciting is DEM Solution is going to make these £4.2 million look tiny next year. And I'm pretty sure we're going to be at a much larger number because of this solution. So congratulations, everybody. Cheers. Cheers, everyone. See you next time. All right. That was good.